So this week we're doing a farm tour. We're going to look at a couple of farms for sure, but I got sick, and I didn't want to get anybody else sick, so I canceled the tractor story, and I just asked a few guys if I could do some farm tours. And this right here is really a farm that I've always thought is awesome. I like silos, and that Harvestore in the middle is my favorite Harvestore. It's the same font as the later ones, the white tops. So that's the modern, the late Harvestore, logo, but yet it's a blue top. So some of the really, really early blue tops, well, I'll probably show you one. They didn't even have a full cage and stuff, but this is like a late blue top, and I really would love to have one of these silos. This is a 20 by 60. There's another 20 by 60, and that's a 20 by 80. And this was the Bill Most farm, and he fed cattle here, beef cattle. They would buy, Western steers and feed them out here. And, this farm is only, I think it's about 20, I bet it's about 27 miles to South St. Paul, Minnesota, which was one of the biggest stockyards in the country. And it was a good deal to have some steers and go right to South St. Paul. And, look at this yard. You got the circle bunk, which is really awesome. And they must have had a conveyor that ran around. I think probably, or it might have been something that worked off of the middle thing there. But really, really cool. This old barn. So if you look, that 20 by 60 is an earlier 20 by 60. It's not the early, but it's definitely earlier. But, pens in here for the cattle, basically. I would guess maybe at one time this was a dairy barn, but I think it's had, it's fed steers for a long time. So it's so Bill owned this farm, and now it's just owned by Most Farms, but just a really neat setup. And go see, we'll try and get in the feed room there. But yeah, that circular setup always looked cool. And I can't remember how that fed, but I do remember there was some kind of bunk, I believe. Here's the feed room. What a neat feed room. And she was all working. Look at all that. And yeah, so the middle one has a little Hercules. So it's got a Herc in it. The other two had Goliaths in them, but that's pretty cool. Yeah, I love these feed rooms like this. What a cool place. Man, this was a heck of a way to feed cattle back in the day, But yeah, I really like this silo. Is the earlier generation of Harvester silo, and this is a small silo. I think, let's see, 10. So it'd be like 45 feet 45 footer, and it's only 17-foot diameter. But what a cool silo. And it's got an old Hercules there. But yeah, neat silo. I like seeing these. I like seeing them stand. So, and this is another most farm. So, pretty cool. Beautiful out here. So here's another neat old setup. It's probably been longer since there's been milk cows here than I think. I have it in my mind it's just been a few years, but no, it's been quite a while actually. But pair of Harvestores. There was a bad windstorm came through here and actually took down the stave silo. And maybe the Harvestores got a dent then. One of them did maybe. But, yeah, still standing. And there's still beef cattle here. There's a bunch of beef cattle here. Really neat setup. A lot of Harvestors were brought up by the guy that built these. These silos still get used to feed the beef cattle. There's haylage. We got 74 Goliaths. Both of them would be the Goliath 2. But, you know, it smells good. That haylage smells good. And I don't know if there's haylage in both of them or corn silage might be in one of them. But it's neat to see them still used. So there were 68 stalls. Some were tie stalls. Some were stanchions. But yeah, the manure pit out here. Just like seeing these setups. That's that silo that went down in that windstorm. The Harvestore stood, and that one didn't. But you know, I like the additions. You know, so this barn was added on to, you know, a bunch of times, really. But so I mentioned that I would like to build a Harvestore up on the farm where we're going to keep the beef cattle. And that's because we got the water up here, and there's no barn foundation up here, which I would like to use for calving going forward. So the plan is we have some permanent pasture up on this farm, but when the crops come off, I'd like to turn cattle out on corn stalks and stuff. And this was a old dairy farm at one time. It never had bulk cooling. It probably last had milk cows in maybe in the early 50s or something, mid 50s. But, you know, there is an old silo here. What's kind of neat about this, if you look, they added on to the silo. It's a pit silo, so if you're not familiar with that, it goes down in the ground too. But look, they put staves on top. But yeah, I would like to put some rafters on this, you know, and just kind of have a roof and a spot for, you know, calving. You know, in the early spring, get them out of the weather to calve, but keep the beef cows up here. And yeah, build a silo somewhere around in here. And we're going to have a cattle lane out through there. And yeah, if you're, you know, chopping some haylage, kind of a nice way to do it. Just to, you know, to chop a few loads. You can open up a Harvestore and put it in on top of the stuff that's there. Less waste. Just kind of works. But yeah, somewhere in here, and you know, we'll run the cattle back up along the lane into here. I'm gonna get my hoe up here and get rid of a lot of trees, but we got water here. It's the old well. But yeah, that's my dream. I don't know if we'll do that or not, but we're going to have cattle up here. I don't know if we'll build a Harvestore up here, but I would kind of like to. It'd be cool. So I'd like to pasture all of this. I'm going to clean up all these trees, and like I said, I'd like to put a roof on that foundation just for calving. You wouldn't keep them in there all the time. There's plenty of shelter around here. We've got trees, but yeah, there's always going to be stalks up here to graze, and when we take our small grains off, we'll have red clover to chop, and and they can graze that too. So, but yeah, I figured I'd show you guys this. But isn't that? That's the coolest thing, that silo. It's short, but they added on one row. Yeah, that's neat. Well, we just got the heifers in and fed, so during the day, let them outside to the yard, and but at night, close it up, and they're happily sitting there eating. So the big one, she gets tied up when we feed her. Otherwise, she eats fast and kicks the Herefords out. But we'll untie her when everybody's done eating here. But yeah, she just gets some whole shelled corn, not much. As you can see, she's got plenty of finish, plenty of condition on her. Little Herefords are doing pretty good. They're growing really nice. Looking forward, we'll breed these to purebred Hereford AI. Breed them for calving these. And yeah, hopefully build the herd. Like I said, I'd like to be at least 30 cow calf pairs, but for now they're just so expensive that we'll pick up a couple more this year. Whole prices are high, but I don't want to get. That's the thing about cattle. It's real easy to buy high and price to come down. So that's why we're going kind of taking our time at this. So, but yeah, looking forward to getting 30 cow calf pairs, and and then the fall you bring the calves back to the old barn here and give them the yard. And we'll probably raise a few of the heifers back up, and maybe we'll raise some steers, or maybe we'll sell feeder cattle. I don't know, but we'll probably for sure just bring the calves back here. And it really does, it really makes me feel good seeing the barn used again and seeing lights on in the barn, and it's just different. It's like there's life inside of this barn, when before this there just wasn't. So well, they're eating quick. Should we walk by my silos one more time? Now, I know some people refer to these as silos, but they're not. They're grain bins. These are. We got Brock bins. I like the Brock bins. There's a pretty good dealer by us, so but here's the silos. These are silos. So that's a 20 by 35 Madison grain-o-matic in the middle, 18 by 70 Rochester on the end, regular traditional stave silo with a top unloader. That's a sealed Madison. And then the Harvestore, it's a 20 by 70, but I converted it to a top unloader with Madison, or not Madison, Hanson Silo Company did that for me. At the time, I was having a real hard time with the Harvestore and sick of the dealer was not great. If I'd have known about the Harvestore dealer now, I probably never would have converted it. But at the time, that's what I did. So, but if you haven't seen, there's my dryer. It's a continuous flow, and it dumps all the time with this auger. Runs just under half speed. It's geared down. And the Harvestore is my wet bin. And there's corn in the Harvestore right now that we ran the fan on and dried it down and kept it cool. So, but those are the silos. I want to use this 18 by 70 again. But I would like a little Harvestore up there for the cows. I would. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, these are grain bins. And those are silos. But yeah, it's pretty cool to see lights on in the barn. You know. Yeah, it was really warm the last couple of days. Temperature's just supposed to drop overnight. The wind's blowing hard. And yeah. So next week I will be in Indianapolis Tuesday through and Wednesday for the NACADE convention, North American Contractors and Drainage. Convention in Indianapolis. Look up NACADE. And be talking about tiling and farming. So if you want to meet me, there's a chance right there. You know, don't get down to Indy all the time, so I'll be there. But you know, the cattle thing, that's one of the few things that I'm excited about in agriculture right now. Is I'm not naive enough to think the cattle prices aren't going to come back down, which I think they will, but I think there has been a shift in, you know, people's mentality. I think people like to cook at home. I think they like beef cooking, and I think that's fundamentally a good thing going forward. There's a lot of programs where the USDA is kind of wanting to push some of this ground to, you know, maybe do some pasture and forage stuff again versus just nothing but row crops. So I'm excited about getting cattle up on that farm, and you know, getting some fencing around there. And like I said, I'd love to build a Harvestore up there and feed them that way. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, there's some things coming in agriculture that I think are really good. We're raising a lot of small grains, which we're actually invested in a milling company now. We bought in, farmers bought in to own it, and that's really exciting. So I think there's some real good opportunity. Maybe we should be raising cat food, save us a lot of money, I guess. But yeah, sorry this was a short video, and I was planning on doing one, and I got sick. I got real sick. So next week, while I'm heading down to Indy, we're going to record a video or two while I'm down there. It might be late next week because I don't know if I'll have time to post it on Friday or not, but we will be recording next week while I'm down in Indianapolis. So, but I hope you enjoy this video. Just these short little farm tours, and I'll show you some literature on some of these silos that I like, talking about the differences between those Harvestores. So, all right, well, thanks again for everybody that watches. So I mentioned the Madison Grain-O-Matic silo that I have, and this is the original brochure that came with that silo that the person I bought the farm from gave me. And kind of neat. Same concept as a Harvestore. It's sealed, but it works different. And, you know, Madison used the same unloader as a lot of the other bottom unloaders, same as a Rochester. They all got a lay dig, where Harvestore did their own unloaders. But really cool. That silo was great. I had a Harvestore corn unit that wasn't nearly as good as that one. I always had good feed with that Madison Grain-O-Matic. You know. And the Nutramatic, that was the haylage and corn silage Madison bottom unloader. You know, look at that. Guy's pulling a, you know, it looks like an Oliver, what, 1850, 1855, something like that. Must be 1850, I guess. Pulling a, what, 782 New Holland chopper or something like that, 770 in a H&S box. So that's a neat brochure. Now this is my favorite brochure because, like I said, it's got the it's the blue top Harvestors, but it's the modern blue tops, I guess. Which that's a great picture. That 56 IH blower with I don't know if that'd be a 656 on there, an IH forage box. Maybe it's a 706. I don't know, but. Kind of cool in this one. I mean, it's just a great brochure. It's really nice material also. But look at that massive combine up there. Look at that Fox chopper. Blowing chopped. They're taking baled hay, blowing it in a Harvestore. Okay? But you read this, you're going to be convinced you have to have a Harvestore. But like I said, it's a blue top with the late Harvestore font on there. And if you look, so, you know, those 20 by 50, 20 by 60, the 20 by 30. But this 25 by 65 here, the 25 footer, they have a white roof. So this is right when they were switching over to the white roof from the blue top. So I like the blue tops. But that's a really neat brochure. And like I said, there's the font. So yeah, you read that, you're going to think you have to have a Harvestore. And then this would be later yet. So obviously these are white tops. Look how tall that one is, because that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's a 90 footer. Once again, if you read this, you're gonna think you better have a Harvestore. So a while back on the video I did with Charles Garby, this is the first Harvestore in Beloit, Wisconsin. He has the second one ever built in Wisconsin. And this is the very first Harvestore ever built, and it was in Wisconsin. So, there it is. That's really neat. You know, and this is how a Harvestore works. So you have breather bags so that the pressure in the silo can, you know, vary with sunlight and temperature. And the bags, you know, deflate or they inflate. So the silo isn't supposed to, you know, flex. The bags are supposed to. But, you know, if you look, no mention. So in the other one, the Hercules unloader was in there. And then the one silo showed a Goliath. But by the time they get to this, yeah, it's just Goliath. And then Atlas. Those were a huge unloader. You know, and gets more modern. So, yeah, I don't know. I get a kick out of silos. I always have. Ever since I was little, I've been fascinated with silos. So, sorry this wasn't a real long video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. But yeah, come to Indianapolis next week. It's, yeah, I like meeting all you guys. So, thanks again for all of this.